Hi everyone, in this mobility class we're going to focus on the lower back. So we'll do some mobility drills and we'll hold some stretches that will provide some relief if the lower back is a cranky area for you. But when we are talking about addressing any lower back discomfort, there are other parts of the body we would want to incorporate into that as well because it is all connected. So things that can help with lower back issues are working on thoracic spine mobility, so mid-spine mobility, and then also addressing core engagement and the hips and the glutes. So you'll see a little bit of that in this class as well. We're going to be down on the mat for the whole time. We'll start laying on our back and then we'll finish in a seated position. I have another class focused on lower back and QL specifically that mixes in some standing work as well, and I'll link that in the video description if you want to try that one in addition to this. So let's start laying down. We're going to have our knees bent about hips distance apart, feet flat on the floor, and arms are going to be down by our side. Let me just move my mic. Arms down by our side. Now from here, we're going to start with just some core engagement and some movement of the lower back. I want you to start at neutral. So a neutral lower back means you do have that arch, that natural lordotic curve, but it's not an excessive arch. We're not flaring open through the ribs. Now we're going to move between neutral to an imprint position or a slight posterior tilt of the pelvis where we lengthen the lower back and gently flatten it to the ground. So I want you to inhale at neutral to prepare. And then I want you to exhale slowly out through the mouth. As you do, ribs move in and down. You feel the bracing of the abdominal wall, and then you're going to start to pull your hip bones towards your bottom ribs, lengthening the lower back towards the floor. And then as you inhale, I want you to just release back to neutral. So it's a small movement. On an exhale, you lengthen that lower back to the floor. Inhale, release it back to neutral. Now, when we lengthen the lower back to the ground, it's not a tuck under by squeezing your glutes, okay? Your glutes should stay relaxed. It's an engagement of the core, especially the obliques, to just roll the pelvis into that slight posterior tilt. And a little tip, if you have a cranky lower back, anytime you're doing core work laying down, try doing it in that imprinted position instead of a neutral lower back, and that can help protect that area. Now, next time you come into that lengthened lower back position, that slight posterior tilt, I want you to hold it, okay? So our lower back is lengthened or flattened against the floor. Now, inhale here, and as you exhale, we're going to march one knee up to tabletop. Maintain the position of the lower back long against the floor. Inhale, release it to the floor, and then on your next exhale, the other leg marches up to tabletop. So we're just going side to side. So in Pilates, we call this spine position imprint. So we're maintaining this imprint as we march. We have that core engagement. We're moving with our breath. Give me just one more either side. And then with both feet planted, I want you to release the pelvis to neutral. All right, we're going to take that rolling motion we initiated with and bring it all the way up into a hip bridge. So we're going to inhale to prepare. As you exhale, same deal, engage to the obliques. Start to roll your hip bones towards your ribs, lengthening through the lower back. Now fire through the glutes, and vertebrae by vertebrae, you're going to peel your hips up into a glute bridge position. Now, pause at the top here. We're open through the front of our hips, and we're reaching our tailbone towards our knees so that there isn't an excessive arch to the lower back. That's why it's really important that I want you to start with that posterior tilt, rolling the spine up to this position. Now, we're just going to reverse it, and vertebrae by vertebrae, I want you to roll the spine back down to the mat, release the pelvis through neutral. Let's do that again. Inhale to prepare. Exhale. Scoop, fire through the glutes. Peel those hips up. Stay for an inhale. And on an exhale, we're going to articulate that spine back down. Twice more like this. We move on the exhale. We hold on the inhale. Last time. And this time we're going to hold those hips up. Now, holding the hips up, I want you to sweep the arms overhead, only as far overhead as you can without flaring open through the ribs, and then just down by your side. Keep pressing the hips up, really activating through the glutes. Like I mentioned at the start of this, when we're addressing lower back issues, we also want to look above and below the lower back, so the hips and glutes, and then the thoracic spine above. So we're really active through the glutes here, not letting our lower back go into an excessive curve. So we got to keep reaching tailbone to knees, pressing the hips up. Now, next time the arms are overhead, I want you to hold them overhead, and we're going to do a little swivel dip with the hips. So one hip is going to drop down an inch and press back up, and then the other side. Now, if you notice your ribs starting to flare, I want you to bring your arms a little higher, okay? Little twist here, inviting in a tiny rotation through the lower back. Just 4, 3, 2, 1. I want you to lower the hips down. I want you to lower your arms down by your side. Now, we're not done with our bridge work, but we're going to take it into single leg. I want you to take your right leg, and I want you to cross it over the left so that we're in a figure 4. Your left foot stays planted down. Now, we're going to do that same rolling, scooping through the lower spine and lifting up to a hip bridge, okay? So inhale, we're at neutral, and then exhale, engage the obliques to start to roll the pelvis towards you. Peel those hips up into your glute bridge. Stay for an inhale. Stay for an exhale. And then on the inhale, I just want you to lower the hips down. You don't have to articulate. They can go straight down. Exhale, scoop through the lower spine. Peel the hips up into that single leg bridge. Stay for a full breath in and out. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, go right into that scoop and lift. Let's do that one more time. Stay for an inhale and an exhale. And then on an inhale, lower the hips down. Keep your legs in the same shape. And we're just going to drop the whole shape over to the left until our right foot plants on the floor. Now we want to feel a little bit of an outer hip stretch here. If you don't feel it, you're going to hop the whole shape up a little closer to your shoulder. If it's too intense, you're going to hop the whole shape down towards the end of your mat. Now with your arms, I want you to bring them out in a T shape. And we're just going to hold this twist for a little bit. Chest is up towards the ceiling, but mid-spine and down has twisted open. So this is a real feel-good class. We'll mix in movement and then some static holds where we just stay in the stretch for a little bit. Now we're going to add in some movement, some twisting through the mid-spine, the thoracic spine. To prepare for it, I want you to take your left elbow and bend it and bring your left hand under your head for support, okay? Now keeping the back of the right hand lightly touching the floor, we're going to start to circle it up overhead and to the left, coming to lay on our side. Keep your legs in the same shape, okay? So now we're laying on our side and we kind of have our head cradled in our bottom hand so that the neck stays in alignment and isn't crooked to the side. Now let's just circle that arm back up and over, peeling the chest open to the ceiling. Legs stay in the same shape, upper body just twists. We roll onto our side. And back open to the ceiling. Now, if you're tight through the shoulder, your hand may lift up off the floor. That is fine. Let's do one more. Onto our side. Chest back up to the ceiling. And then from here, I want you to bring your lower half back through center, but you can keep the figure 4 as you do it. And then from here, I want you to take your left leg, stretch it out long, and the right leg that was just crossed over, we're going to pull the knee in towards our armpit. Now, maybe you grab the back of the thigh and pull in like that. If it feels okay, though, we're going to do sort of a half happy baby. So you're going to grab the outer edge of the foot with your hand, and you'll pull that knee down and towards your armpit. Try to keep both hips anchored to the floor, even though one leg is straight and one is bent. If you notice the hip wanting to lift up, then I would take this left knee and I would bend it and I would put your foot on the floor, okay? One more breath here. Then releasing the foot, we're going to do that whole thing on the other side. So take a full body stretch first. Legs go long, arms overhead. All right, now let's bend the knees in. Arms can come down by your side. And then this time it is going to be the left leg that figure four crosses over the right. So your right foot is staying planted down on the floor. We're going to do that rolling hip bridge. So you articulate the spine up, hold for a breath, and then lower everything down. So start with neutral. You have that natural curve to the low back. On your next exhale, you're going to engage the core and you're going to start to roll the pelvis, hip bones towards bottom ribs. Now push your right foot into the floor, fire through the glutes, and continue to peel that spine up. You should feel a nice stretch on this left side as you do this. We stay for a full inhale and exhale. And then as you inhale, you lower the hips. And as you exhale, you go right into that next scoop up. Make sure you're really active through the glutes. If you're not fired through the glutes, the pressure is going to go into your lower back, which is the opposite of what we want happening. Last time here. And when you lower those hips down, we are going to keep the legs in the same shape. I just got to scoot to the side. But we're going to drop everything over to the right until that left foot plants on the floor. So we have this nice rotation through the mid and lower spine. We have this nice outer hip stretch. If you need a more intense hip stretch, you hop the shape up towards your arms. Less intense, hop it towards the end of your mat. Arms are going to go out in a T. Palms can face up towards the ceiling. And let's just hold here for a couple breaths. So this class is a mix of mobility and stretch drills that give relief to the lower back areas, and then also a little work on the areas that help in the long run address chronic cranky lower back syndrome. I just made up that name, but you know what I mean. So mixing in a little bit of glute work, some hip opening work, some thoracic spine mobility to go along with the stretches that sort of provide that more immediate relief to the lower back. We want to think immediate and then long-term work. Now let's go into that rotation. So first, I would recommend bending the right elbow and bringing the hand behind your head for some support. Keeping the back of the left hand touching the floor, you're just going to start to circle it up and overhead. And as you do, we're going to roll onto the right side of our body. Legs stay in the position they're in. Then we just circle it back open, peeling open through the chest. Continue to move. Slowly circling. Last time. Circle it open, chest up to the ceiling, engage through your obliques to bring the lower body back up through center. And then from here, it's going to be your right leg that goes long, and then the left knee that comes in. So you can opt to just hug behind your thigh. Going to be a little more intense if you grab the outer edge of the foot and pull the knee in towards your armpit for a half happy baby, or a single-sided happy baby, I should say. If this is uncomfortable, try bending your right knee and planting the foot on the floor. With every exhale, I want you to think of it as a release and melt a little deeper into the position. One more breath. From here, let's stretch both legs long. Arms can come overhead. And then I want you to hug both knees in towards your chest to kind of bring this into center. And on the next side, I want you to nod the chin and come up into a slight ab curl position so we're sort of in this little ball. Now we're going to bring our hands behind our thighs. We're just going to start to roll a little bit up and down the spine. Eventually, we're going to take this roll all the way up to a seated position. And coming into sort of a half straddle, I'm going to turn to face you. Let's start with our right knee bent and in, and we're going to take our left leg long. So in this position, we're going to do a feel-good flowing movement. So we're going to start with a side body stretch over the straight leg, okay? So this left arm is going to reach towards the foot. Maybe you grab it, maybe it just comes to the shin, and the right arm is going to sweep up and over. I'm keeping my chest facing you, okay? And now from here, I'm going to kind of sweep over to the right. My right hand is going to come to the floor. Now I'm going to circle the left overhead to meet it. When I do, notice what I do with this straight left leg. I'm going to rotate it within the hip joint, flattening the foot, the inner edge of the foot to the floor as my left hand comes to the mat. And then I'm just going to circle it back open and I'm going to reverse it. So you're mirroring me. We side bend in one direction and the other, inviting in that little rotation within the hip joint, that left hip, as we do so. When you bring your hands to the mat over to the right, really reach this left arm up and forward, forward, forward. Oops, I forgot the rotation within the hip joint. So we're just moving through this at our own pace. Oh, I think this feels so good. And you might feel a little sticky within that hip joint, even though it is a small rotation, moving from toes up to toes forward, you might really feel it. And it's just the leg rotating within the hip joint. We're not actually moving the hips, so keep your pelvis still. Just wrap that thigh bone around within it. All right, 2 more like this. Final time, we'll hold the side stretch over to the left over that straight leg up next. So next time you come into this stretch over your left leg, I want you to hold it. To start, keep the chest open towards me. And again, your bottom hand doesn't have to grab the foot. Maybe it just comes to your shin, maybe even your thigh, okay? Now, staying within this side bend, we're going to start to rotate. The rotation is going to come through your mid-spine. We're going to keep this arm reaching long. We're going to start to wrap our chest towards the floor. As we do, really reach your right arm forward, but keep it parallel to the floor. And then let's just peel open through the chest. Exhale, rotate and reach, reach, reach. And open up. So when we come into this reach forward, you should feel the side area, your lower back, your QL. If you don't feel it, you might want to try to reach for the foot with your bottom hand, because using that as leverage, you just get a little more pull, a little more traction through this area. So you're going to give me 1 more rotation, and then we're going to hold with the chest parallel to the floor. So I want you to hold. Chest is towards the floor. You're reaching, reaching, reaching through this right arm. You can kind of pull on the left for more traction. Now with every inhale, I want you to think of expanding into that mid-back area. Direct your breath down. Fill the side and the lower back. And on the exhale, we melt and we reach a little farther forward with this right arm. Give me 1 more breath here. And then we're going to bring it up, and we're going to do that same thing over to the other side. Just take a moment to sit up tall. Okay, so now we're going to bend the left knee in. We're going to take the right leg long in this half straddle position. We're going to start with that side to side feel good flow. So we're going to bring our left arm up and over as the right hand reaches for the foot or maybe the shin. And now we're going to take it up and over to the left. Left hand plants. Right arm starts to circle around. As it does, we're going to take this right leg and we're going to rotate it within the hip joint, bringing the inner edge of the foot to the floor. Right arm reaches long and plants on the floor. And then we reverse that circle, opening up, toes to the ceiling, side bend to the right. Go slow at your own pace and just continue to do this flow side to side. Twice more. Really reach this right arm forward and then down. Final time, and then we'll hold over the straight leg. And we're going to hold the side stretch over to the right. So right hand can grab the foot for a little more traction. Pulling on it, you'll feel the traction increase here, or just have it on your shin, okay? Left arm is reaching up and over. Now, maintaining the pull through this bottom right arm, we're going to start to rotate the chest. On an exhale, we rotate it towards the floor, really reaching this left arm forward, parallel to the floor, as far forward as we can. And then we peel open. So you rotate to the floor, and then you rotate open to me. We are going to hold. So next time you rotate towards the floor, I want you to hold and really reach through that left arm. You can pull a little on the right side to increase the stretch. When you inhale, I want you to think of expanding into your mid-back and side body. As you exhale, you release. You melt a little deeper into the position. Oh no, I walked my dog in sandals and I'm just noticing how dirty my feet are. That's gross. Sorry. I should have cleaned them before I filmed the class barefoot. Hopefully the lighting is good enough that you can't notice, but my apologies if you can. It's summer, okay? Leave me alone. One more breath. And then I want you to release and come up. All right, let's just finish with a couple stretches in a child's pose, and then that'll be a wrap. So if it's really uncomfortable for your hips to have your legs together in a child's pose, you can separate the knees. But otherwise, if possible, I want you to start with the legs together so that our chest is rounding over our thighs. We're going to walk the hands forward, coming into this child's pose. But then right away, I want you to walk your hands over to the left. You're going to walk them over to the left. You're going to kind of lean into that outer right hip. And just hold here. And then we're going to switch sides. You're going to walk your hands over to the right, and then you're going to kind of lean into that outer left hip. You'll probably feel this stretch admittedly more through your lats than through your lower back, your QL, and that's okay. I just want one more opening of the side body. All right, now we're going to walk the hands through center. And at this point, if this is uncomfortable for your hips, I want you to separate the knees so that it's a more restful position. Walk the hands forward, forehead to the mat, and let's just take a few breaths here. Now engaging through the core, we're going to start to walk our hands in, and as we do, we're really going to round the spine up towards the ceiling. So we're walking in, the spine is rounded, rounded, rounding. Think of shoulder blades separating, filling the space in that mid-back. Now when you've walked your hands into the point where they start to come to your knees, we're going to vertebrae by vertebrae, stack that spine up tall to neutral. Hands can come to our thighs. On an inhale, I want you to shrug your shoulders up, and then I want you to exhale, circle them back and drop them down. Twice more. Inhale, circle them up. Exhale, back and drop them. Last time. Release. And that is your class. I hope you're feeling good after that. And again, I have another class with a lower back, specifically QL focus, that I highly recommend as well. And I'll link that below. See you next time.